YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be taking a look at my first impression review of the Nike Structure 23. This is a daily stability trainer with a traditional fit, but there's still a lot of mystery surrounding this shoe because for some reason Nike thinks it's cool to drop a shoe in minimal countries, make it member access only on their website, and not provide very many details regarding the structure and build at all. But all the company BS aside, I don't mind the shoe, so let's get right into my first impressions. Made for the runner looking for a shoe they can wear daily, the Nike Air Zoom Structure 23 keeps you cushioned with a plush, ventilated design. It's been built with a purpose, to give you a fast, secure, and trusted training partner for miles. Wow. That sounds pretty good. This sounds like a Dudley Do-Right shoe. And you know what? Maybe it actually is, but we're gonna find out right now. So let's get into it, starting with the stack height. So Nike is reporting the stack height of the shoe as 22 millimeters in the heel and 14 millimeters in the forefoot. And I can tell you from wearing this, that just doesn't feel right. I'm pitting this more at 26 millimeters in the heel and maybe 18 millimeters in the forefoot, which would give us a total heel to toe drop of 8 millimeters, which feels about right in the shoe. This shoe does not feel really like a 10 millimeter drop. It feels closer to an 8, and I think it's much higher than the reported, 22-14. But we will have more information as Nike releases more on this shoe. The weight, I have no idea, and I don't have a scale to measure this accurately for you guys. So instead of giving the wrong information, I'm just gonna hold off on the weight for now, and I'll let you guys know as soon as I can. It feels pretty lightweight. It's definitely not as bulky as some of the other shoes on the market. So it's not bad, it's not bad. The fit, feels true to size. I've had very little issues. The toe box is actually feeling a little wider than Nike's traditional toe box, which is kind of known for being narrow. I will say that the volume on the top of the toe box area has been a little constricting on my toes. I feel like it's been pushing down, and I haven't had like room for my toes to like push up out of the shoe a little bit. And for some people, that might not be an issue. For me, it annoyed me on my first couple runs. But overall, the fit, pretty true to size, no issues there. And that segues really well into the upper. Now, Nike hasn't provided any information on the makeup of this upper. From what I can see, it seems to be a pretty standard engineered upper mesh material that's very breathable and actually pretty lightweight. I've had very little issues with that. It has what they're calling a dynamic fit system, which is I think the lacing system they're using. The one thing I will say about the lacing system is over the top of my foot, it did put my foot to sleep. I've only ran a couple times in this, and that's why it's my first impression, but it did put my foot to sleep a little bit. I felt like it constricted my blood flow, and if I tied the laces any looser, then I think I would have been swimming in the shoe. So that I think may be a small design flaw, but it could just be I haven't broken it in yet. Speaking of the wrap around the top of the foot, there is extremely plush tongue and a very full gusseted tongue here, which I thought really helped for the fit of the shoe. Actually, the tongue doesn't roll everywhere. I thought the tongue was a little thick. It's kind of excessive to me. It feels like it could have like half the amount of cushion it has and still be really comfortable. I don't like what Nike's been doing with like the super thin cut back tongues. I like a little bit of extra cushioning, but this just feels like it's too much. There is a fairly firm and stiff heel counter in the back. It's not as firm as other like stability shoes on the market, but I think it's gonna get the job done there. You're not gonna be rolling around. And I've experienced very little rubbing on the heel in my first couple runs. And the lockdown on the ankle, very solid. And that brings us on to the midsole. Nike has provided very little information on the midsole, except for the fact that there is a 4-foot Air Zoom unit to add a little extra snap in your stride. So I'm guessing that Nike React Foam is making up this midsole. That's what they're using in all of their daily trainers. And this feels plush and responsive, kind of like that foam. I would say this shoe actually feels much softer than the Pegasus 37, but maybe a little bit firmer than the Nike React Miler. But it's actually a pretty plush shoe. As far as like comfort goes, it kind of harkens back to like an old school Vomero 8 or 9, like when that series was like really killing it. But anyway, like cushion's really soft, but this also is a stability shoe. And you can see right there, they have a nice kind of dual density posting there. in the medial side of the shoe to kind of prevent any rolling in if you're over pronating. Doing like a little durometer test. I see some of the best shoe reviewers on YouTube out there doing that. You can see like if I'm pressing on this foam with the medial wedge, it's pretty firm, but then if you go to the heel, if you press on that, that's gonna be a lot softer. And I think that kind of displays pretty well in the shoe. But the nice thing is they are putting some extra softer foam on top of the posting, so it doesn't really get in the way. And to be honest, this shoe feels a little bit less supportive than the other kind of Nike structures out there. Not that that's a bad thing though. I am kind of enjoying the ride of this shoe. It's just not too supportive. I think if you're like a true neutral runner and you love like low impact shoes that don't get in your way, this isn't gonna be the one for you already. But if you're just kind of like halfway there, halfway out, halfway not, this is gonna be a pretty okay option for you. Like the support's there, but it's not impeding your ability to move naturally. And finally, on the midsole, there is a minor crash rail going on just for a smooth transition. I didn't really feel it in my first run or two. I'd say if you don't feel the crash rail, that's probably a good thing. And that finally brings us to the outsole. This, I think, is just a pretty traditional blown rubber outsole, as you can see right here. But it actually kind of harkens back to some of the older outsole designs they've been using for maybe you'd see in like the Structure 19 or the Structure 18. It just doesn't look quite the same as kind of the Structure 22 or 21. And there's also plenty of flexibility because there's grooves on the bottom. So you got a lot of flexibility in the forefoot. So that's not going to impede your stride at all. And that about does it for the makeup of the shoe. So let's get into my current positives and drawbacks. So my positive of the shoe is gonna be that midsole foam. I think it's React foam. It might not be, who knows? But I really enjoyed the cushion of this. And again, it feels like a great mix of soft yet responsive. And I haven't even ran in this very much yet. So I'm excited to see what I can do when I get this thing to 50 miles. And I will definitely be checking in with a full review of this shoe when I get there. The drawback though, I mentioned this earlier, it's gonna be the lack of volume on the top of the toe box area. It just felt like it was constricting my foot and I wasn't really into that. Maybe it's a break-in thing, but we'll see when I get more miles on this thing. Durability prediction, this is a super initial review, but I'm gonna say that I think we're gonna get about 400 to 500 miles on this thing. Not bad, not great, but pretty standard in today's era. Oh, no, you're good. I just cut it. You're good, no worries. Finally, moving on to what I think this shoe is best for. I think you're gonna get a lot of return for long runs, easy days, daily training, and kind of like medium long runs or medium steady runs. I say this a lot about daily trainers. I think you're gonna be comfortable getting about to around marathon pace in this thing, and you're not gonna have a ton of issues. The forefoot air zoom unit helps add a little bit of snap into the shoe. So I think you're gonna be able to get away with that, but this is a pretty versatile trainer if you're looking for something that can like do it most. So pretty cool. Moving on to the price. At $120, I don't see why everyone doesn't want this shoe. In a world where prices are always rising for daily trainers, going into the 130s, 140s, and even 150s, they're still dropping a shoe at $120 of this quality. Even after a couple runs, I know this thing is a pretty quality shoe for that price point, at least relative to the rest of the shoe market. This thing is kind of dope for that price. Like, it's hard to scoff at 120 nowadays, so that's a thumbs up from me, baby. But overall, I'd say I've been pretty happy with my first couple runs on this thing. I have a lot to learn about this. I hope Nike drops some information about this in the next couple weeks while I'm getting more miles on this thing. But I will definitely be wearing this thing much more for the next couple weeks. And I'll be checking in again with you guys, letting you know how it is after around 50 miles. So, very happy with this so far, and I can't wait to get more miles on the Nike Structure 23. That about does it today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please feel free to like, subscribe, smash that bell button, and leave a comment below. And until next time, y'all know the drill. Stay healthy, stay chill. Cheers, friends.